Aloha friends, it's Cindy from Stamped with Aloha. In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to create 3 simple projects that all feature products from the Kintsugi Suite. So let's go ahead and get started. So the stamp set we're going to be using today is called Inspiring Imperfections. The embossing folder is called Joined Together. Then we're going to be using this beautiful designer series paper. It's called Kintsugi Inspirations. So you can see it has all this real subtle pattern on the back, but watch when you flip it over, you have the wow effect because you have all the gorgeous gold foil and all these beautiful colors that work so well together. Now, when you have designer series paper like this, it's really hard to cut it. So the tip that I'm going to give you for my class today is how to conserve your designer series paper. And what we're going to do is we are going to take all of the sheets except for this one here, and we are going to take all these pattern sheets and I'm going to cut them into the same dimensions, 2 inches by 3 inch. And that's the piece that we're going to use on each one of our projects. Also, you have this amazing sheet here. This coordinates with the dies. So in one of our projects today, I've taken the die and I'm going to place it over these images here, and then I'll die cut them and I'll have a focal point already that I got directly from the designer series paper. The really cool thing about this particular piece of paper is every single thing on this piece of paper can be die cut and there'll be no waste. All right, next let's take a look at the 3 projects we're going to make. So here they are. You'll be making a card using Laura's tape technique. You'll be creating a little note card, and you'll be creating a tea holder as well. So let's get started on our first project, the note card. So for our first project, we're going to be using a note card and envelope. And the nice thing about these is they come already scored and ready to use. And then I'm going to put a piece of cardstock on the top. Now this cardstock has been embossed with that joined together embossing folder that's a part of this suite. So I'm going to first take and I'm going to place adhesive on this side here, and then I'm going to glue this down onto the top of my note card. Okay, so now the base of the card is all finished. All right, so these are the pieces that you're going to need for this first project. You have the 2 by 3 piece of designer series paper. Then you're going to mat that with a 2 1/4 by 3 1/4 of Misty Moonlight and a 2 1/2 by 3 1/2 of gold. Each one of the projects that we create today is going to have that same stack. Now for this one, we're going to go ahead and put glue on the gold side. I don't usually do that, but because we're going to have the gold on the focal point here, we want a more subtle background. So I'm going to take and add some multi-purpose liquid glue to my 2 by 3 piece of cardstock, and then I'm going to mount that into the center of a 2 1/4 by 3 1/4 piece of Misty Moonlight. Then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to get out my dimensionals, and we are going to double dimensional this. So what I mean is we're going to put dimensionals on this layer. Then I'm going to remove the backing. And then we're going to lift this up onto the gold. And then we're going to add dimensionals again. So we want this to really stand off the top of the card. So we'll take this off. And again, for each one of the projects that we're going to make today, we're going to do this same stack. The designer series paper to a background color to a gold with double dimensionals. This is going to go right in the center to create a background for our focal point. Okay, then we're going to take this vase, and for the vase here, we are going to just add some glue, and we're going to glue it right onto the front. Okay, then we will take some dimensionals and place them behind this little cup here. And we're going to place that right there. And now we're ready for our sentiment. So for the sentiment, I'm going to stamp the words that say, "I am here for you." I'll be using Misty Moonlight ink. Let me get out my ink, and we're going to go ahead and stamp that. Okay, now I am going to put dimensionals on this. So we're going to turn it around, and I'm going to add a dimensional on each side. Peel the backing, and then that's going to go right over here. Right. Next, we're gonna finish this card up by adding our embellishments. We'll be using the beautiful flower accents. These embellishments are also a part of this suite. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a large one and place a large one up here. We're gonna take a small one and place a small one at an angle right here. And then we'll take one more small one and we'll place that small one down here in the corner. And guess what? Card number 1 is completed. All right, let's move on and do card number 2. For card number 2, I have a 4 1/4 by 11 piece of cardstock. I'm gonna fold it in half. Use my bone folder. And then onto the top of that, I'm going to apply a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of shaded spruce cardstock that's been embossed with the joined together embossing folder. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the glue and stick this down. Okay, so now the backdrop of our card is done and we are gonna go ahead and build that paper stack. So for this one, we are going to use these 3 pieces here. But this time I do want that gold paper to really shine. So I'm gonna place some adhesive on the blue side. This is 2 by 3. I'm gonna glue that to a 2 1/4 by 3 1/4 pull party. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do the double dimensionals. Then I'm going to take and place this in the top left corner of the card, and there it's going to provide a backdrop for our focal point. For our focal point, we're going to do some stamping. So we're going to stamp a vase and also our sentiment. So the vase is going to be stamped with shaded spruce ink. I'm going to ink up my stamp. And then I'm going to stamp that. And I don't have to worry about getting it in the center. I just need to make sure that I have it on there because I'm going to die cut this. But we're going to die cut this using the LTT or Laura's tape technique. This was a technique that my friend Laura Dubois taught me several years ago. And so for this technique, I'm just using some clear tape. I'm going to pull the tape and then I'm going to place that over my stamped image. Now I'm gonna go take this and run this through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and we'll have a nice shiny vase focal point for our project. Okay, so our vase is all done. So I'm gonna flip this over and I'm gonna place a dimensional here at the top and then one about halfway down. And then when we place this on the card, we wanna place it on the right side, but we wanna place it a little bit off center so that it's just hanging off the edge of the card like that. Right. And then the last thing that we need to do before we put our embellishments is stamp our sentiment. I love this sentiment. We're going to use our shaded spruce ink and stamp on a circle that is from the Stylish Shapes. And this says simply, "You inspire me." So then I'm going to take and add this glue to the back and we're going to slide that right under there. And now we're ready to add our beautiful flower accents. So we'll take a large one and place it right here. We'll take a small one and place it at an angle next to that sentiment. And then we'll take one more large one and we'll place it up here where we have that more empty space up on the left. All right, and this is card number 2. Super quick and easy, yeah? And we used, again, that 2 by 3 background to conserve paper. All right, the last project that I'm gonna show you is a tea holder. So let's move on to that next. All right, so we are on to our last project. We're going to be making a little tea holder. And I don't remember if I told you or showed you the stamp set or not, but the final stamp we're going to use is this flower here. And then we'll also be using "I'm Here For You" again. And this is the exact same flower that is printed on the designer series paper. So there is a die that can die cut this if you stamp it, and also can die cut the one out of the paper. We, however, today are not going to be die cutting it because I'm going to be stamping that on another die that I've already pre-done using the Stylish Shape dies. Can you see how everything is matchy-matchy, right? Same dies, same concept, 2 by 3 designer series paper, same embellishment, same color. You know me by now, I like matchy-matchy. So hopefully you'll like these projects. They'll make a nice set. All right, so this is a Misty Moonlight cardstock. It is, let's check the dimensions here, 3 inches wide, by 10.5 inches. And you're gonna score it at 1 inch, then again at 6 inches here, and then one more time at 6 1/8 inch, just to create a tiny little gusset. Now this is kind of a taller tea holder, but I really like the look of it. So I'm gonna take and I'm gonna fold up that little section at the bottom. And then what I'm gonna do here is use a stapler, and I'm gonna use the stapler backwards so that the finished smooth side will be on the outside back of the project. Okay, then I'm gonna take and I'm gonna just fold on those gussets. And if you need, you can use your bone folder to crease it, but that looks like it looks pretty good there. And so that's how your tea holder is gonna lay. Now we're gonna start with our stack. So I have the, probably my favorite piece of paper in this collection is this one here. So I'm gonna put adhesive on this petal pink side to feature the blue flowers. And we're gonna glue that to the petal pink cardstock that's 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. And then we're gonna double dimensional that with our gold foil. Okay, this is going to get placed right in the center of the top of the tea holder like that. And then we're gonna do some stamping. So for the stamping on this, we're gonna be using our Misty Moonlight ink. And we're gonna stamp, again, that nice sentiment that says, I'm here for you. And then we're going to stamp the flower. Okay. I'm going to place a couple of dimensionals on the back of the sentiment. And then we are going to strategically hide the staple with that. And then we have this flower. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to really stack this one up here. So we're going to add, I'll do like 3 dimensionals here. Do you find these little backings everywhere? And then we're going to go ahead and stack this here. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it at an angle, and I'm going to add more dimensionals, and we will finish this project with our flower embellishments. Okay, that's gonna go right there. Nice, and then we'll give it that pop of gold with a large one here, a small one here, and we have room for a large one up here. And then we will open this up. Now it can hold other things than tea, but I have some nice Hawaiian natural jasmine mamaki tea, and I'm gonna just place that in there, and then you have a completed project. All right, well, that completes my final project, and I hope that I've shown you in this video just how beautiful the products are from this suite, but also a simple template that maybe you can use, whether with this suite or any of your favorite products, to create a simple card and save some designer series paper too. Thanks again for watching. I look forward to seeing you again next time. Until then, aloha.